All right, all showered, shaved, hair combed, contacts in, ready for the day. Um, I had a couple of thoughts in meditation, and also that just come to me, in the morning. So one of the things I do, I think I said before, is I try to just put good information, coming in, right? And one of the things I do is I listen to podcasts. I try to find good podcasts that are helpful in some way, right? So there are business ones, there are emotional ones, there are general life ones, whatever I can find that I can connect with and draw some inspiration from. So there's one that I found when I really started realizing that Al-Anon offered me some real help in some things that nothing else was sort of addressing or getting to. And I searched up Al-Anon podcast, and I came across one called Recover Your Soul. Um, and it's Rachel Harrison is the woman that runs it, and it's really good. Some of the topics really don't apply to me. And I'll listen to some of them, even though they don't apply to me, but there's a ton that do. She's got a lot of episodes. And again, I'm really making this clear that whatever's going on with me, I'm getting help from wherever I can on the outside. I'm done trying to pretend I've got all the answers. I'm done trying to defend some crazy idea that, well, if you just do these couple of things, everything works out. Has not been my reality, right? So I'm searching. In AA, they talk about being in a state of seeking, right? We're seeking things, not necessarily finding. I mean, we find things along the way, but the idea is to be in a state of seeking all the time. So that podcast came up because I was in a state of seeking, and it's really good. I'm listening to one now that has to do with relationships and should we stay or should we go? And she obviously doesn't say you should do this, but she gives her own experience and draws on a lot. And I am learning a lot and getting a much better appreciation when I hear other people talk about the things going on in their brains, right? That are that they had to work through, the insights that they had. Sometimes those things, hearing other people talk about it for them, gives me the ability to articulate what's going on in my brain with all of that stuff, right? And look, it's no, this isn't a, this certainly isn't my idea, nothing new, that men and women largely speak different languages. And I have been, for my part, I have certainly done a poor job of, playing along with that idea, right? Like I've just I haven't been sensitive to it. I do know that my wife and I have gone years and years and years and years and years with no real intimacy, emotional or physical. I mean, it's we just lost that part of who we were. And I don't know what we had in the beginning. We had excitement, we had fun, we had there was yes, there was a lot of love there in the beginning, right? Um, and life happens, right? I mean, the stuff with me and my job and money and financial dishonesty really took a toll. I get that. Not hiding from that at all, right? In fact, I would say, and this might get a little deep, and wasn't really the direction I was looking to go to on this, but it really became extraordinarily painful for me. I knew the damage that I was causing. A lot of it had to do with just not. I could not. I could not reliably and regularly earn a sufficient income. Not because I'm not capable. I got issues, right? I mean, I'm starting to sort them out and figure out what's going on with that, and I'm working really hard to correct those things. But nonetheless, that's been my experience, right? And to lie and to pretend that it wasn't, it just doesn't do any good, right? So I knew that I was, come the first of the month and the bills are due, and I know I'm not getting a check, and I wouldn't tell her that I'm not getting a check, and then a check wouldn't show up, and I would shuck and jive and try to scramble and maybe come up with, a couple of dollars here or there. I put an extraordinary amount of pressure on her to have to come through and find a way to pay the bills and take care of our family. And she did that, and a lot of resentment built up over that for obvious reasons. So I own all that, right? Like that's I'm not pretending that didn't happen. I'm not. Trust me when I say I own that, and I know that I own that. I've spent years wearing that really heavy, kicking the living shit out of myself, right? For the fact that I couldn't do this. I couldn't. I mean, how can I not? I'm a man, right? I'm a man. I'm a husband. I'm a father. How can I not take care of my family? And I just not only do I not taking care of them, but I'm conducting myself in a very dishonest and less than ethical way, right? And that was really wearing me out. I didn't know how to fix it. It caused all sorts of other problems because then there is no everything between her and I ultimately comes back to that, right? And of course it does. It's a big thing. It's the elephant in the room, right? And until I fix that, that was just going to be, yeah, but and it always comes back to all the horrible stuff I did, and I get that, which again is why I wore it really hard for the last bunch of years. I've worn it so hard that I have done. A friend of mine calls it doing the math, right? And I'm talking about this not to be melodramatic and not to. I don't want. I'm not looking for anybody to feel sorry for me. Ray and Renzo, if you guys are watching this and you see this, I'm just being honest, right? Because I think that this is important. And this was not something that was talked about when I was growing up. So I'm going to lay it out for you. I mean, I was doing the math. I know that I have health insurance, or I'm sorry, life insurance. I know that I have life insurance. I know I have a significant amount of life insurance. And I am trying to figure out, if they collect on my life insurance, does that take care of college for both of them? Does that pay off the house? Does that put them in a much better place? Am I worth more dead than alive? Meaning what's underneath that, right, is I'm considering, I mean, is that my best option? Is to, is it do something that, a permanent solution to a temporary problem, as they say. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, I never acted on that. I'm talking about it now, which I think is part of the healing for me. But it was a serious thing, and like the idea that my kids might come home and find me, or I just, I'm glad that was important enough to stand in the way of me doing anything. But it's hurt. It's hurt for a long time, and I'm quite frankly fucking tired of being hurt and hurting over it. And so, I am trying to own it, acknowledge it, amend for it, and then move the fuck on, to be honest with you. Right? Like it there's nothing more I can do about that. I have to just go on and try to be a different person and try to work harder at those places in my life where I've fallen short. And I'm doing that. I'm working really, really hard to make that happen. And I feel confident that I've got the resources in place. I've got the people in place. I've got the support structure, that those things will change for me. And we'll grow from there, and I don't know. This thing of life is not easy. It's just not easy. We all have our struggles. This happens to be mine. Other people have other struggles. This is the struggle for our marriage, and again, to be clear, I need to own what I did to hurt our marriage and possibly probably end it, right? There were things I did that, that being the biggest one. There were some other things associated with that certainly play into it. And I'm gonna live with that. to be clear, this is a two-way thing, right? And I'm not on here and trying to air her dirty laundry. But, look, she owns some of it too, right? I mean, what I did, um, is it marriage ending stuff? It can be, doesn't have to be. Where her and I are together with my issues and her issues, and whether or not they gel, or they're conflicting. They're more conflicting, right? The things that we both struggle with separately, right? Like we all have our own stuff. It's hard because it makes it hard for us to come together, and we both have, one person doesn't end a marriage. I know that. So I am trying to right size this thing in my brain. Like I said, own it, own up to it, amend for it, right size it, and then move the fuck on. And if that, or where we are with all this stuff, means the end, then it means the end. But I'm going to walk out. I'm either going to walk out knowing that I owned up to whatever I could, and apologized for it and tried to be a different person as best as I could, or we're going to get back together, and I'm going to take that attitude of I know all the things that I need to work on to be different, and I'm not going to go back to being that person that created those things and put us in that situation, right? And one of the two has to happen. Either way, I'm moving on to this next chapter of life, with or without her, with a different set of tools, a different set of skills, a different focus, and an improved version of me. And I think that's what I'm trying to take into this. I had a talk yesterday with the boys, and it just comes up. I'm just trying. I feel like maybe I've missed some opportunities to give the fatherly chats. It's just has never been my thing, right? So I'm trying to pay attention to that now and realize that they're young adults, they're teenagers. I mean, Ray is 18, so I mean, he's actually an adult. I'm trying to share some wisdom, certainly let my good and bad be available to them, right? So they can see and not get this idea that, if you just do things right, everything works out. We're all going to have problems, and I want them to know that they can have problems and get past it, right? But one of the things that I'm really trying to stress with them is this idea that I can look around at the people around me, and I can see people that are doing really, really well, and I can take, if I do it right, I find inspiration from them. Maybe I find different ideas from them. Maybe what I can't do, let me reverse a little bit, is think I'm going to be them, right? So that doesn't work for me. Just saying, right? Other people might have a different way of looking at this. My thing is I'm looking at them, trying to find some inspiration. Ultimately, when it's all said and done, my competition is me. My competition is me. I'm trying to be a better me today than I was yesterday. And if I do that just a little bit at a time, I think miracles happen. And for me to be a better me, I'm looking at all these different things, and I'm finding different places that I can be a little bit better today with things than I was yesterday. A lot of it is really doing a deep dive and knowing who and what I am. It's a great, I don't know if I talked about it before. Great line I heard, and this is a goofy, it came out of nowhere on TikTok. I don't even know who it was, but I would gladly give them all the credit in the world for this. But the message was, the enemy is average. The enemy is average. I feel like I spent big parts of my life just trying to be average. just, well, I mean, I'm doing what everybody else is doing. I mean, it's, I know that I'm not killing it and whatever, but I mean, I'm at least as good as everybody else. And that's it's a bad way. That's not a soul satisfying attitude of life. That's a let's do the least amount to get by thing. And you know what? I did that. Did that in a lot of things. A lot of things I did that with. I'm done. I don't want to do that anymore. Now I'm 54 years old and I'm just figuring it out now, right? That I want to be exceptional at all the things that I try to do. I won't be. Trust me, I won't be. I can't be exceptional at everything, right? But my job is whatever the freaking task is at hand, whether it's cleaning up the kitchen or working on a proposal at work or coaching the kids, at their whatever rec league baseball stuff. My job is just to be as good as possible at whatever that task is in front of me. Some things I'm going to be better at, and that's fine. But my job is to try to be exceptional at every fucking thing that I do. And I want my kids to learn that too. And so I'm telling them that and trying to make it, trying to remind them that life is not about how can I just get away with as little as possible? How can I, what shortcuts can I take to get from here to there so I can go out and be away from here and be hanging with my friends or get back upstairs and be playing on my computer. It's like, no, if your job is to do the dishes right now, do the dishes well. Get done. The sink should be shining. Like people should walk up and go, holy crap, you did a hell of a job on the dishes. Like that's what I want them. That's what I want them to learn. And so I'm trying to demonstrate it through my own actions. And I'm also trying to articulate it for them as well. This is all hard. I don't know if they hear me, but I'm going to keep trying because I think it means something to try to pass these things along. I want them to know what I'm working hard at and what my struggles are and what my struggles have been. And hopefully that's useful to them. So, all right, I think that's all I got for you. That was kind of long. Sorry for dragging it out for so long and moving in a couple of different directions there, but I was just sort of going where the spirit was directing me, I guess. There'll be more concrete stuff coming, I am sure, but those were the things that were sort of on my brain today. And that's it. Talk soon. Bye.